Hi everyone. So today we are going to practice making dashboards in Power BI. So first of all, I hope you all are doing well. So this is my first stream and I'm very excited right now. All right. For today's video, we will be using the global Superstore dataset to prepare a dashboard in Power BI. And as for the dataset, we have this dataset. It is a pretty famous dataset. Beginners and students go through this dataset at least once in their initial phases of learning analytics and visualization. So here we have the uh, data of orders in the rows and for a superstore which works globally. So we have order ID. Okay, let's try switching views if we can. So we have, I don't think this is working. Okay, yes. So yes, so we have order ID, we have order date, shipping mode, segments, cities, states, etc. So there are 24 columns as we can see, and there are 25,000 unique values in our dataset. So let's begin with it. So I'll be using the XLSX format. I'll click on this. Yes. So the data is here. So okay. So here we have 51,000 rows and 24 columns. So what we will do is we'll download this file first. Yes. So now we are logged in, we can download the file now. I'll click on download. Okay, the file is here. Okay, so this is the CSV and we need the XLSX format. We can also go with the CSV file. It won't be an issue. But since we are aware of XLSX format more than as compared to CSV, I'll go with the XLSX first. CSV is also a common extension if you guys don't know. So now the data is ready. Let's unzip it so we can use it. We open the archive, click on extract to. I'll click on OK. Now the file is ready. Or what I'll do is let's extract this to the desktop. Okay, I think this is enough. Now we can go to Power BI, and now what we'll do is we will import the dataset and start using it. First, we'll explore the dataset, how it looks, what it has, and what we can do. So I'll click on Get Data, or you can simply click on this button as well. So yes, it is an Excel workbook. If you are using a CSV file, you need to click on this option and then click on connect. For now, I'll be using this option only. Now let's click and click on connect. Okay, so this is the, yes, I am a gamer, right? So this is the file explorer. Now we just need to give it the path. Button. Okay, so here's the file. I'll click on open. So now what Power BI is doing is it is establishing a connection with the XLSX file, which is the base data for our dashboard. So what we will do is we will click on this particular checkbox, and a preview will be created for the data that is present in the file. Yes. So since we have a lot of rows in our dataset, since this is a huge dataset, the data in the preview has been truncated due to size limits. So we just need a preview. We don't need to see the whole dataset. That's why we are seeing this many rows only. Now it is a good practice to transform our data first and then load it afterwards. So I'll click on transform data. So transform data helps you to make changes in the data set if you want. Then we can load it afterwards. So here we have the raw data. Here we have the row ID, which is not in an ascending order, which we can do from right here only. But I'll not do it for now. Okay, we have the order ID, the date, shipping dates, shipping modes. Then we have 24 columns, state, country, postal code, etc. So what I'll do is I'll just try to add one column only for now. So what we'll do is I'll just right click on the last column and I'll try to insert one column here. Okay, add column. Now we can add a column using this. Now what we'll do is click on this button. So here is an option for you if you want to add a column based on the conditions in regarding the older column. So if you want to add a new column based on something that is present in the older column, you can use this. So if you want, you can use this button for predefined examples. You can use you can use a custom function. You can use an index, whatever you want. There is a lot of stuff over here. So for now, I'll just use the custom column button and I'll just add one. Click on OK. Okay. So now we have the count. Now we have a new column which is now named as count, and it only has numeric values, which is only one. So now my next modification would be, so as we had just discovered that this dataset has geographical locations. So what I'll do is there's this operation that you can perform to tell Power BI that you are using uh, that you can change the data type. So what we'll do is you go to the home button, click on data type, and you can choose whatever data type you want, like be it binary, true, false, text, duration, time zone, etc. Let's explore this one more. Group by. So you can use all of these options. There are a lot of functionalities in here. You can also, if two forms of data are into one column, you can use this button as well. You can add columns using different things, etc. Okay. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll just click on close and apply. So I'm not going to perform my next modification right now. We might do it afterwards. So for now, I'll be loading the dataset into the cache so the software can use it to create visualizations. So let's click on close and apply. The changes are being applied. We just have to wait. The data model is being prepared. Okay, so 51,000 rows were loaded, and now the canvas is ready. Now we have the base data in this button. We have the data model in this button, and this is the canvas. So what the canvas is the place where we'll be creating the dashboard. So these are the three main buttons in the Power BI window: the canvas, the data source, and the model. So we'll come back to the canvas. Now we have all of our columns in this fields section. Now we can click on this arrow to expand all the columns. So yes, now our data is ready, and now we can proceed with creating the visualizations. Now let's go with the bar graph, stacked bar chart. So now, okay, I'll be using this count column to uh, generate the numerical values for a particular category. So by that I mean, if I want to, okay, let's choose a category column first. Okay, category is here. Now, if I want to see the count of category of any categorical column, I can just drag this into the count x-axis. So the chart is now being named as count of category by category, or as an alternative, I can I can use this count column, bring it here, and use it. The job done is same, but it is a good practice to always create a count column if you are dealing with this kind of data set. So yes, now our first chart is ready. We can obviously make formatting and other changes. So for that, we need to click on this button. Okay, so whenever we have selected a visualization, we have three buttons over here. And whenever we have selected the canvas, we have only two buttons here. So this is for the canvas tools. We can use these buttons to insert charts, or we can use this button to format the canvas. For example, we can rename this as dashboard slide 1. You press on enter. Now we can also do it from here as well. Now the second thing that we can do is we can change the size and dimensions. We can use a background, we can use a wallpaper, we can also insert an image. So that's one thing that we can also do. So first of all, we'll be formatting this chart. For that, we can click on this button. So here we can insert or remove the grid lines. I'll remove the grid lines for now. Okay. So now if I want to increase the font size of the x-axis, I go to x-axis settings. Okay, the minimum range and the maximum range is here. We can also use logarithmic scale if there is a huge difference in the in our observations. I'll close this for now. Let's go with the values thing. Values section provides you a lot of options to format the contents of the x-axis. For now, we can change the font size. Sorry, we can change the font face. We can also change the font size from this. For now, I'll keep it as Calibri, which is the standard format that is used by MS Word and MS Excel if you have seen. Then the font size will be 10. The color we can also change. So if I want my content in red color, I can use this. Okay, so now we can use the units. We can change the units in which the data or the amount of the count of data is being displayed. So we can uh, let's begin with thousands, which is currently selected, so there is no change. But when I click on millions, the unit changes 0.03, which also means 30,000. So if there is a huge difference between the maximum and minimum values in the data set, you can use this setting. But by default, auto is chosen. The software automatically detects the variance and the minimum and maximum values. So the software can give its own suggestion. We can also use decimal places. For example, if I go with billions or millions, this will be the same. But if you have any numerical values, you can use the decimal place. You can provide the specify the number of decimals that you want to see, which we'll be covering in a few. Okay, so now we have the title section where you can see the. Okay, now if I type anything over here, you will see it over here. So we can now modify the x-axis title. So for now, let's rename it to count. Okay, it's ready. We are in x-axis only. Okay. So now also we can use bold and italics and underline settings. We can change the font's face and font size. We can also change the color if we want. Let's keep it black for now, the default color. Grid lines we just switched off. We can turn it back on. So now we have the dashed grid lines. We can also use the solid grid lines. We can define the width of the grid line so it is visible according to our preference. So here I'll be using 1 pixel or 2 pixel grid line. So it is barely visible, but we have an indication that 30,000 is over here. In this particular visualization, the numerical segments are clearly visible, but there are some cases where we need to use grid lines to give an idea to the viewer that how much a bar or a line or any measurement point indicates. Okay, now let's reset it to default. I'll switch it off for now. Now we have the zoom slider setting. If we turn it on, you'll see this bar over here. And when you hover your cursor over the endpoints or in the between as well, you'll see that you can click and drag on this. So if I keep dragging it towards the right, you'll see the data points will change automatically. It is done to if like if you are trying to explain this to someone, if you are trying to show the data to someone, and if you want to focus between the 20,000 and 30,000 range, you can simply do it by making it like this. So if there are more data points in between, you can use a slider to focus on this particular data only, which starts from here, ends here. So grid lines is also sorry, the zoom slider is also used a lot, and there are specific use cases where you want to use, where you don't want to use. It's like that. So it depends upon the conditions, upon the type of data you are trying to use. For now, I'll be turning it off since we don't have a huge number over here. This simple bar chart is doing its job really well, so we don't need it as of now. I'll turn it off. And on the x-axis, we have more options, slider labels, tooltips. If I go over here, okay. So now we have the tooltip now that it shows that the slider is on 34,000 right now. And if I turn it off, there won't be any tooltip. Let's reset it to default. Okay. Now coming on to the bar section, we can change the color of each and every bar, and we can also give one unique color to all the bars in the chart. So let's try doing this. If I click on this, the color changes to purple. And if I want to change the color of each bar specifically, We can do it by this. So office supplies will be now given this color. Technology, let's leave it purple only. And for furniture, let's make it yellow. So now I can choose whichever color I want for each of my bars. Now we have the spacing. Okay, let's make a unique color for all of the bars. So this blue seems good. Okay, all right. So now the space now we can also change the spacing in a chart, the spacing of bars and basically the alignment of a bar in the bar chart. What we can do is there are two options, inner padding and minimum category width. So what we can do is let's try messing with the inner padding first. If I increase the padding, you see the bars got a little slimmer. If I decrease the padding, the bars will be thicker. So you can basically specify the width of the bar from the inside. So you can think of it like this, that whenever you use this inner padding setting, you can change the bar's dimensions in this manner. You can either expand it, make it thicker, or you can either contract it, which will make it go slimmer. I'll leave it to this right now. 34 pixels looks good. Now coming on to the second option, there is minimum category width. If I try to increase the width, let's give it 50, or okay. So for some reason this is not working as of now. The minimum category width is used to in is used in other cases. I'll check for this and get back to you on this. So we can ignore this as of now. So now the spacing thing has two settings, inner padding and minimum category width, which we have covered. Let's reset it to default once again so our chart is not disturbed at all. Now coming on to data labels. Now data labels are something it is a number which indicates the value that we are trying to show using the bars. So we can turn it on and we see that there's a number over here right now. So now we can move the data label in the inside end or in the at the outside end, inside center, however we like. We can place the data label in any manner we want. So if I want to give a background to my data label so it is clearly visible, we can use this. So there are some cases where the background color and the foreground colors are not in a sync. So what happens is the data label is not clearly visible. So for that we can use a background for our data label. If I go with black and make it less transparent, you'll see the data label is now clearly visible, and I can change the transparency according to my preference. Now coming on to the value section, this is just common value formatting which we can do. We can increase and decrease the font size. We can change the display units, decimal places, etc. Let's now reset. Okay, I'll leave the setting on for now. Looks good. So now let's come to the plot area background. So we can put a specific picture behind this, so it is good looking. What we can do is we can put a picture in the background section of the plot. For now, I'll leave it like this only. Now here are the sorry. Now here's the formatting setting for the chart. We have now formatted the inside of the chart, the elements of the chart. Now we can format the whole chart on its own. So we can change the height, we can change the width, we can give it a position. Now we have advanced options. So yes, if we want it to be responsive, we'll cover this in a later video, in the upcoming part of this video. So there are titles. Let's make it count by category. Coming back to this. All right. We can use effects in the background of the title. There are tooltips. We can also use tooltips. We can enter text. That this is the text formatting. If you want to bold and do whatever, we can do here. Here's the background that we can use. So this was the basic chart formatting that we can do in Power BI. What we'll do is we'll replicate this particular chart, or we can create a new chart. So what I'll do is let's use a donut chart for now for our next visualization, and let's use market and count. Yes, so we can depict this information by using this donut chart. So what we are doing is we are using the market category in the legends field, and we are using the count column in the count field. So this gives us this beautiful donut chart. We can also create a new pie chart if we want for the same thing. Market in legends, count in values. The same information, I'll remove it for now. Now we'll try to use, okay, now let's use a new sheet or a new page. And now let's try to use this chart. You can use field map. Okay, there are two geographical charts which we can use in Power BI. You can either use a map chart or the field map. So the main difference between these two things is that the geographical location will be highlighted, will be pointed out in this one, and it would be highlighted in this one. Let's see. If we use region in location, count in values, okay, count in bubble size. So these particular locations are only pointed out in the map, and if you convert it to a field map, what happens is this region will be highlighted. Let's put it in. Okay, all right. So now we have North America. Now we are covering North America. This basically the whole particular region, which is highlighted. So we can, okay, let's now convert it back to the field map. Okay, the normal map. Now what we can do else is you can obviously make set changes in this. All right. So let's remove count from here, and let's put profit in here in the bubble size thing. So now what you will be able to see is the bigger the circle is, the greater the profit. So there's little profit, okay, in comparison to each other. So Georgia, this particular area seems to be highly profitable. And we can also replace this by the sales column. So the sales is the highest in this particular column. As a reason, the profit is also higher. You can put it over here. So this was the part one. We'll cover the rest in the part two.